Thank you. Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett and I'm the founder and owner of TechViews. And today we are going to get into a side project. This goes into the security camera system, but we're going to get into a side project that I've been working on and where I think things are going to go with technology and why. And this video we're going to cover Wi-Fi pretty broadly. I'm going to try to keep things on a high level, I guess you say. Basically, instead of getting into the exacts and terminology and stuff like that, try to do the high level type stuff. And with that, what we're really going to focus on is future and Wi-Fi. So as far as things goes, for those of you know, I have a security camera system. I have a video on how to make your own security camera system with the iSpy software. So the iSpy is free. You just need a computer to keep the thing on, right? A Windows computer, and the IP cameras to wireless or not, but my stuff is wireless. So you just need them in order to act as a security camera system. Well, one of the promises is the more devices you have on a Wi-Fi system, the slower it is. Now the question is why? The reason why is your Wi-Fi system can only talk to one device at a time. So taking a look at a diagram I made, the circle with the plus sign and networking, that's router. So whenever you see that, just know it's router. But going into here, just image this, the Wi-Fi router, and then you got each line being a wireless device. So let's say it's communicating with this device. It's not communicating with any other device at that time. And what happens is you have check-ins. So you got check-ins and then regular communication. Check-ins usually is not as bad because you don't do check-ins it's not continuous. So you can literally have a device out there and every millisecond, I think it's like in some cases 500 milliseconds, 600 milliseconds, something like that, it does a check-in to say I'm still here. So in some cases it could be even further, but you tend to start running into problems. But it's its own thing. I'm not going to get too deep into that. But basically what a check-in does is it says I'm still here, because what the router does, the Wi-Fi router, it's really concerned with, and keep in mind, what a Wi-Fi system is multiple things. It's a router. In some cases, it could be a switch, like it has a switchability in it. It is a Wi-Fi access point, and so on and so on. So the difference between interdustrial and not is that because interdustrial Wi-Fi routers, they're not as good as the individual, where you got a access point, a router, a switch, and so on, but it's more compact, and really a lot of places just need that. Whereas a interdustrial Wi-Fi router and Wi-Fi router, the difference is more of the speed, and then you get into ability to have more devices, more antennas, and all the other junk on it. So with that, basically what happens is with the check-in, it just does that, because what it's concerned with is each device has its own MAC address, something called a MAC address, MAC. And it's a long line, and it shouldn't ever change. You can spoof and change a MAC address, but really you shouldn't. And in some cases, it's actually illegal too, because unless if you're doing like security, it's 90% of the time whatever you're doing is illegal. I've dealt with it for legal purposes outside of that. So in gaming and stuff like that, you have to trick some systems. Like in my case, I done a video a while back on the what was it, the Nintendo DS, where there was like some Street Pass feature, and if you live in middle of nowhere, like the stuff's great, and if you're in New York or something like that, or in Japan where everything's so close to each other. But in certain sectors of Japan where you're in the country, or here in the United States, or many other places where things are so spread apart, where it's like 15 minutes to the nearest Walmart, well, you're not going to use that feature at all. So spoof the thing and just getting into a long thing. Spoof the thing, just get the results that you want. It's not illegal to do that, but outside of that and a few other things, like a handful of things, there's not too many good reasons to do that. But again, there's that. So the MAC address, again, it's associated with the device itself. It was programmed into it through the and burned into it through the manufacturer. Supposedly, no other device in the world legitimately has the same MAC address as, say, your computer, your phone, your TV, if it has a Wi-Fi or whatever. And I don't believe that, but aside, statistically, you're probably not going to run into the same MAC address if in your area. So as far as that goes, your Wi-Fi will look at a MAC address, it'll associate an IP address. The internet and stuff will talk to that IP address, and it'll pass right through that. That's all the Wi-Fi is really concerned with the check-ins, and when you release it, something else can use that IP address. There's more than enough IP addresses. You're talking about 254, 254 IP addresses that you can use. And you're probably not even going to use a third of that. At max, it's highly doubtful. So with even having plug-in stuff, it's highly doubtful. And you can get more than that. Home-based systems usually a Class C, so you can obviously get a whole crap ton more than that IP addresses if need be. But with a home system, it will not be able to keep up with some of these other things. Check out subnetting if you want to check out the classes and what I was just talking about with that. So with that, going into so the Wi-Fi system can only talk to one device at a time. And you might be saying, okay, I'm streaming some Twitch channel, someone else next to me is streaming the same thing, and also I got video cameras looking out and it looks like it's all live. Reality, it's not. What happens is I get a bit, you get a bit, the next thing gets a bit, and it goes down the line. But it happens so fast that it looks like it's there, and it's fast enough where we don't care. Like say for example, do you measure your speed on your car inches per whatever, inches per hour, or miles per hour? Because the measurement is so is meant for one thing, and really you care for this whatever, you're not concerned with it. In a scientific and research environment, they tend to care about slightly more, but I don't think we ever really got to a point where even research development cares about that millisecond time. There might be like a case scenario that I could think of, but that's stretching it at best, because you're talking about so small of a measurement of time for everything to be talking to the Wi-Fi system that that basically you wouldn't notice, and an next person shouldn't notice the difference. The computers are the only ones who really should be able to notice, because they're talking to the thing and it's going that fast. Now going into the slowdowns and stuff. So what happens is the Wi-Fi system, because it has to talk to each single device, it slows down to the slowest device. So when you got a device really far out, that can cause slowdown for the entire network. When you got a device that is generally slow, so like IP cameras, that will slow down the entire network. So that's one thing that causes it. Then to top it off, you got a whole bunch of other devices, and with that, you start running problems with too many devices. So it takes too long for it to loop around. Like it tosses you, and by the time it gets back to you, you time out or just about time out. So it's slowed down to the point that you can barely use the internet in the first place. And usually for home systems, you're talking about 12 for a low end home system. For a higher end, about 20, 25. Really, it's questionable if you can get 25 without running some major problems. But 12, and you can do basic internet stuff probably. Much more than that, so you ain't gonna do even that. So you're gonna have problems even sending out emails because of how slow things are gonna be. So with that, what happens is you and you can modify the Wi-Fi router to only talk to newer devices. You could modify it to the speeds and all that other stuff, but usually that's only you can do it on modified routers or really only on higher end routers. And I got one of the more expensive routers because of my condition, and people who I live with uses the internet all the time for work and whatever. So what happens is even in that case where you spend a crap ton of money on their Wi-Fi system, it you still won't be able to fully control it without modifying the system like DDWRT. So with that, because you got this slowdown between the streaming and whatever of video and the communication going back and forth, the security server telling the camera to move wherever and correcting and whatever. Basically, what you run into is an entire slowdown. So, my solution, getting back into this in case of the things, whatever, but my solution is basically you have two Wi-Fi systems. So you got a primary that will talk to its things, and the secondary that will talk to the cameras. So basically you can say let's just call that one just for the sake of simplicity. But basically you have, and I know this is crappy drawing, but basically you have a primary that and wired into that would be the secondary. Now as far as that goes, what I found, and this is where I think the future is going to go, you're going to find a lot of the home automated systems is going more onto the wireless side. You're going to see security systems going more onto wireless side, because what you have is people who are living in these older houses, even modern houses. The only way to get around a lot is running conduits in the walls, and builders don't really think about that. And even if you got conduit, something gets jammed in it and you're done. You can't use that anymore. So you're running wire through and it jams, something's in the conduit, and that's that. Well, that's where the wireless is going to go. It's more accessible to more clients, so higher sales and stuff like that. So normally with Wi-Fi systems, you'll have like a 102, let's say it's 1.1 for the router itself. And then going out to the internet, it will have whatever your IP address or your ISP gives you. and then and with its IP address, it should change once in a while. So, and you know, it depends on your area what you get. But anyways, with that, what I found is the secondary Wi-Fi. It needs to be like something like 192.168 and 1. You can. I'm doing experiments to play around with this, but what I found, what really works on almost 100% of the time, is if you do it like 192.168, 192 with a subclass C, so 255.255.255.0 subnetting address, and have it thinks it's internet IP address, say its internet IP address is static, and you just tell it the 192.168.1.1 address, and it'll say, okay, the internet address is 1.1. This is mostly why that's too. So as far as that goes, basically all the devices within the this section, let's see if I can draw, within this section is a dot 2 sorry about that. Ooh, crap. I'm at 2 dots whatever. So in this case it'd be 2.1. So basically all the devices within here, it'll be 192.168.2 whatever, and every device in this area is a dot 1 whatever, so 192.168.1 whatever. And this is when you got your computer is out on this. Let's see, CPU is out on this end, and you got a KVM, and your security system is obviously within this area. So KVM I'm talking about is not the physical KVM, it's the wireless type remote KVM, and that requires, ones I know about, requires the particular address. I'm looking at one that will allow me to manually put in the address, the IP address, so I can just tell it, hey, it's on a separate network. So it does that. But the biggest problem I found is getting to communicate back and forth is just a complete pain in itself. Then on top of that, what I found is sometimes if you got cameras on this network, the main one, sometimes it works on this one, but a lot of time it don't. And that's without modifying the system at all. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In fact, a lot of time it doesn't. So if you have any of your cameras on this main one, then you're running some problems. Then there's a third problem, and it's not a huge problem, but jammers. So how do jammers work? Basically, I think I got a video on how jammers work, so check out that. But basically, your secondary Wi-Fi potentially could act as a jammer if the thing's already noisy in the area. So that can be a problem in itself. Keep in mind, IP cameras run at a 2.4, so it's run at a slower speed. And if you can run your PCs and stuff on the not 2.4, 2.4 gigahertz, and if you can run everything else on 5, then you should be fine. You really should be a different thing altogether. But thing to note here is you run into some problems with that, where I think things are going to go into the future, because this is literally about the only solution that I can find to this problem, to the slowdown. Because what happens is I'm still able to access this stuff, the security system, remotely. So if my system says it's detecting someone in the garage, and I can get it where it sends me an email, because it's connected to the internet, it's just going through the main, then going out to the internet. internet. So I can still get emails saying, hey, someone's in your garage or whatever it may be. And basically this takes all the cameras off of the primary network, and that way everything on the primary network runs super smooth, but on the secondary network it not so much. The other problem I found, just in case if you're wanting to do this, is you need a good Wi-Fi router. In fact, I am having to bring crap back from my secondary to my primary because what I found is having a bad Wi-Fi router that was overheating like a ton of the time. In fact, I think that's what was causing problems. Basically, what ended up happening is it was shutting off all entirely, and I didn't know about it because I'm on the primary, I'm good and whatever. And how often am I really going to check the Wi-Fi stuff? I'm like, I'm good. And then I notice, hey, what does my camera show? Or my neighbor gets their crap broken in. Let's take a look. Oh, it's down. Says that. Real quick before I forget, problem with Wi-Fi systems, Wi-Fi security systems. Even though things are going to go that method, right now, if you got a thief with a jammer, they can jam all the cameras and stuff. It costs like $10 for a jammer. You can make your own for less than that, so it's not that hard. But the chances of a thief having that is pretty low, unless they're targeting like a pretty nice house, which again I'll say wire crap. Again, if you're wiring your stuff, a lot of this won't be a problem. But if you're in a house where you can't because you got a large space or you got concrete walls or whatever it may be, then this is really the only solution I found. So in the future, what I think is going to end up happening, because a lot of people, the average person, and probably many of you, the viewers, and me to a certain extent, I don't want to deal with this crap. I just want it to work. I don't care about, I'll call it magic, because I really don't care about getting it all configured. Like, I just want it to work at the end of the day, and want it to stay working. So what I think is going to end up happening, because a lot of people simply won't know how to do this, because this is a more of a newer problem than not. But what I think is going to happen is you're going to have a secondary system like this, but it will configure everything for you. You have to either buy special cameras, or maybe a company will make that secondary router, and other companies will partner with it. So like D-Link or whatever will partner, and they'll say they'll communicate together, do some behind the scenes stuff, and it'll work. But that's where I think things are going to go, is through that, because what happens here is if you have a secondary system, basically DirecTV does it to a point. So let's clear this out. So DirecTV does it to a point. So I got a router, a primary router. It goes out to a mesh network from DirecTV, and it will talk to its own boxes. I think a similar thing is going to happen across the board, whether you have a home automated system, so voice control, open close blinds, set temperature, whatever, a thermostat that's wireless. So what would end up happening is you'll have a thermostat, your blinds, and you might say, well, all this is rich people crap. Okay, but let's talk about 20 years down the road when this stuff is like $20. Like and you can't buy a normal thermometer, a normal thermostat and it becomes more and more difficult. Like you can buy probably regular blinds and crap like that, but you can't buy a normal fridge all more Wi-Fi based. You can't buy a normal thermometer because they're all Wi-Fi based. You can't buy a normal TV because they're all Wi-Fi based. It's soon enough that's gonna end up happening, and that's why what I'm thinking is going to end up happening is you're going to have a separate device that acts like that second network. It can be remotely or physically attached, and what could end up happening is let's clear all that out. Is you have a primary Wi-Fi, and it will be attached to the whatever devices, or even have a switch that will attach all the devices, and then they'll go out and talk to their own devices, and then they'll talk to the monitor or whatever. So the first device will act as the primary, and the second will act as a bridge or as a repeater. Sorry about that. It's busy. But your second device will act as a repeater, and what would end up happening is like your thermometer on their side of the house will talk to it, while on this side of the house the TV will talk to the primary, and it will go back and forth. This is where I think things are going to go sooner than later. And for me, I would personally easily try to start a company and or at least start a product line doing this type of stuff, but it takes millions of dollars to do this type of stuff to develop it correctly. You can probably do it with a couple $100,000, but it takes millions of dollars to do it correctly, something that will last a long time, because a single person is not going to be able to do it. You're going to have an entire staff and these individuals that know how to do these type of things that can get within a reasonable time. Each one's going to be about like what, a 80 to 100, maybe even $130,000 salary, and that's not including benefits and all this other crap. So basically, you're going to spend a ton of money just trying to get people to stay around, and you have to buy products and all the other stuff. And then you got to get, depending on which government you're trying to go through, which is hopefully you're trying to go through all of them, you got to get them to sign off on it, and they have to test it and all this other crap that goes on with it. So with that, that's a big thing you got to keep in mind, and that's where I think things are going to go. And I would have already been like, yeah, I'm going to go for that myself, but there's no way I can afford that, and there's no way most people can. So that's a big thing to keep an eye out for. But as for right now, what I found is using the primary Wi-Fi, a secondary, and going through that route, as I put in fairly good detail, at least what I think is good detail. That's actually what I found is what you got to do now. If these wireless devices is that like for example, if you have a Amazon what is it, Alexis? I don't have it, so I don't know if that's the correct name for it. But some of these other home systems, especially the home automated systems, where it actually connects to like a thermostat, or it connects to blinds, or it connects to a fridge, or it connects to a coffee maker, and so on, so on, so on. That's gonna tax your resources pretty heavily. So that's where the second Wi-Fi really comes in play, and that's really the only solution I know of now. You might be asking, how do I set that up? The answer is look it up. Each Wi-Fi router is its own beast. I can't do it for every single one, and it's pretty straightforward. If you set up one, you should be able to set up others, and just basically read, because it's say internet IP and it will say automatic. You have to switch that to manual and just put in your main Wi-Fi. So probably a 192.168.1.1. with the 255 address, so Class C address, and so on. But as far as that goes, if you got any questions on this or anything else related to this, then let me know, and I'll try and answer as quickly as possible. And as far as that goes, if you want to support this channel and help create labs and stuff, so I can actually show you some of this stuff, real world examples, then feel free to donate to the Patreon campaign and or PayPal donations, and that way I can afford to make some of the labs and stuff. But anyways, leave a like, subscribe, share, especially share, and I'll see you in the next video, and hope you have a great day.